I'm Martin Haug, one of the founders of Typst and its current CEO, and this is my keynote. So in 2019, Lawrence and we were studying computer science at TU Berlin, and during that degree, you use a lot of LaTeX. Most of the people here will know what that is. It's software to create technical documents, mostly used in STEM. You write markup, and then you get out your beautifully formatted document. The problem is that it's not very fast at doing that, and furthermore, you interface with user experience like this. So I didn't quite think of myself as a baddie in university. LaTeX did. And well, so we thought we can come up with something better, something that is faster, something that has a better user experience. And we sort of started just hacking away. Like, at the time, I was more of the ideas guy. Lawrence was the one who actually did the implementing. And but eventually, like, I joined in that endeavor too. And the underlying doctrine was you can just do stuff. And in that sense, we started it as a project, and then unfortunately, after your master's completes, you kind of need a job. Then we started to carrying forward as something that maybe other people would use. And this was a very skunkworks operation. And then I don't know in which order my slides go. The mission of that was basically make users in STEM happier than LaTeX can. That was like the hypothesis we have over the null hypothesis that like LaTeX is the best thing that you can do and it will never get any better. And they knew everything about computers in the 70s. We reject that null hypothesis, and we did it in a very scrappy way. Like, for example, from this desk at university, in our university's incubator, we ship the most heinous updates, most heinous code changes directly to production. If you think there was such a thing as testing, it was like thinking, should it work? Yeah, that should work, like push to prod. And that didn't only apply to the Typst web application, that applied to the Typst language. This was a point in time where Lawrence also just pushed releases, changes, breaking changes to the Typst language directly into the compiler with few documentation and no like warning up front or like way to opt back out of it. You just need to like do it or die. And we pushed all of that code on perhaps for us the most ill-suited application platform that any cloud hyperscaler could provide, Azure Functions. Later, we thought it would be a wise idea to supplement this platform with a single server, because our code is uniquely scalable, right? And then the PRs came in, because fortunately, Typst had some success. And with those PRs, you obviously want to accept as many as possible, right? Because we want to have the contributor number be as high as possible, because that appeals to your vanity. And so the thing that we reviewed at the time, perhaps more than we should, as coding style, the thing that we didn't review is, would that change actually be like impactful in a positive way to our users? So we had a PR like this, look great, like ship it to prod. And then we have the age-old question, does f_pi open parentheses x close parenthesis mean this, right, where you have the pi in the subscript and it's a function of like f? Or is it like some f with pi of x as a function in the subscript together? Like this pull request that we merged had the closely held opinion that this was true. Typst beforehand and the Typst team today is of the opinion that this is true. How do we get from this back to this? More on this later. And what's the upshot of all of this? Why am I telling you what kind of crappy operation we run? Yeah, because we changed it, and because I want to share with you a few of the insights that came along with how we changed that. We became more professional. First of all, we now have tests. These tests frankly do traumatize our engineers, but they do contain that trauma to inside of this organization. And second of all, we have more than one server now. And third of all, if we apply changes to the Typst language, we will actually ask you, like, we made changes, we think this is cool. Do you think this is cool? We managed to professionalize how we apply changes to the Typst language, the open source code base too. So in here you can see, for example, that we've got, so in general, we've got a lot of great contributors, but in this particular problem relating to the example I showed you earlier, we had like one PR that basically just tried to revert the previous change. Then Lawrence went ahead and, this is going to break other users, and reverted the reversion. And then we started thinking even more hard about this, and Lawrence wrote a blog post, and finally we have set out to, with the help of two great contributors, Max and Ian, to then completely change how Typst Smart Mode works. And of course, our process now allows us to ship large changes more confidently. For example, the week before last week, we shipped a change basically replacing a third of our backend. We had very few production incidents, which we were all able to fix within a half an hour of them arising. And we shipped our new landing page, where our old landing page perhaps won the prize for most naive below the fold design. Many of you will have gotten to Typst through that page, but we are glad to leave it behind in favor of this one. And you may ask yourself, how have we done this? And turns out it's all just with a team of 5 people. It's me and Lawrence, and then Anna, who's at the producer's desk today, Tobias, who is in charge of audiovisual today, and Gabriel, who is also joining us today from Brazil as speaker support and audience relations. So if you have any questions, then please, Gabriel, can you show hands? Oh, he's at the registration desk right now. Then please go up to Gabriel and ask him, and we can see what we can do to help. Then you will say, of course, like they're doing offshoring. There's like a huge team of like people in Romania or Pakistan that are working on this that we don't see. We don't. In a world where like every AI startup in Berlin, this is only Berlin companies, raises 1 million in their first round. We just did it with 225K of angel investment once, and we don't have any plans to raise a future round. And with a more professional project, there comes, of course, a more professional use. We have seen use in the industries of cybersecurity outside of academia, but also finance, aerospace, and artificial intelligence. And that made us see that we can expand our vision from make users happier than LaTeX can to change professional writing in general, like in more disciplines and in the industry outside of academia for the better. And Typst can do that with fast automation, with great user experience. And businesses want to build on Typst. And why do we know that? Because businesses today are building on Typst. And we think that's a great opportunity because as we want to build with this organization a sustainable open source project. And this open source project will need to be bootstrapped by resources, right? And these resources are something that we aim to provide steadily with our business, with that foundation of commercial customers. And today we are seeing that over the metrics I was able to present to you last year, we have grown twofold in terms of registered users. We have grown more than twofold in terms of projects on the web app, and even 5-fold in daily sessions that people are spending on our web app, and of course, untold users in the open source compiler. And if you take a look at Typst today, we have like 4 plans in our web app next to open source, which is Typst 3, which is like where you get started, where you have basic features for basic writing. You have Typst Pro, which is our flagship experience, but our flagship experience for individuals. So if you're just like one person, then this is great for you. Then we have Typst on premises, and we designed that for organizations that have data that is secret enough so they want to run Typst themselves. But of course, this is a lot of effort to run, and this can be too expensive for some organizations. So we really want to have like something in the cloud where we can make people that want to apply Typst happy, do it easily, and at a cost-effective price point, and have them pay that support forward to the open source project. And of course, there will be something for everyone this year for open source, for these teams, for Typst Pro and on premises. And we hope you're looking forward to that. And in that vein, we're going to see today a lot of great talks from the community. We have the schedule back here. There will be a break. And at any point, you can get cold drinks at the bar. And we even have a special guest here, which I want to call out, Norbert from Archive, who is joining us to talk about how Typst maybe Typst relates today to Archive, and Typst could relate in the future. And in the second part after the workshop, we have Lawrence closing out the session with his vision for the future of styling, and afterwards dinner. And with that, I wish you all a great day here, and thank you very much.
Okay, so we have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions very quickly. And during that time, I would like the next speaker to come to me, please, so that I can set up the mic and everything.
If Marty is in the audience, yes.
Yes, okay, great. If you come here, Marty, then. Does anyone have a question for Martin or for the team in general?
Can you go back to the statistics page, please?
Yes.
I don't have a question, I just want to see it again. Thank you.
Have you ever spoken to universities of having Typst on premises?
We have checked with universities before. The problem is that many universities who would buy Typst on premises currently have a license for overleaf and don't necessarily want to buy 2 products that advertise in the same lane. And we're collaborating with Universität des Saarlands, who will be the first university to provide a Typst license to all of its students in its computer science school, which is thousands of students, and looking forward to working with other trailblazing institutions in the future. Okay, then with that, thank you for your attention, and I'm gonna bring up next Marty, who's going to tell us about how he managed to bring his Notion notes into Typst for a good presentation on print. We're using his own custom app.